All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hit or Miss. I'm your host, Night Strike. Uh, I don't have much of a panel tonight because everybody is late or they're not showing up. So my panel tonight consists of Travis P11. So Travis, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Travis P11, and I've got a YouTube channel called Travis P11, Travis P11, and I have all kinds of different content, mostly firearm reviews, cleaning videos, which we'll talk about a very important cleaning product this evening, won't we? I think we will.
We will.
I got a little podcast I do on Saturday mornings called Caliber Corner, 8 a.m. Central Time, where we talk guns and ammo. We talk prepping a little bit of everything. We try to have a different topic every week. I always have great panelists show up, and that is what we do. So I love to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yep. No problem. So, yeah. Which topic do you know? What? Why don't we talk about what's his name? Jeff first.
Yes, Jeff Quinn from gunblast.com.
Jeff Quinn from Gunblast, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that don't know, the Gunblast YouTube channel and gunblast.com, Jeff Quinn, the Tennessean with the outrageous beard, he passed away the other day. So I wanted to just go over that a little bit because if I was gonna buy a gun, I liked listening to his reviews more so than everybody else's because he was a no-nonsense type of guy. If a thing didn't function properly, with certain ammo, he would tell you right off the bat. He wouldn't mince words, unlike other reviewers. And I enjoyed watching his videos.
Dude, I agree, man. He was one of the first gun channels that I started watching. Like, I started making videos in 2014. Oh. I believe it was 2014. And his channel was one of the first ones that I saw like a year or two before I even got into firearms, like I am now. Him, and then obviously, Nothing Fancy brings a lot of people in. Love him or hate him, that's just a fact. Iraqi veteran. But yeah, Gunblast, you're right. He always had a real, just kind of simple formula to talking about firearms and showing them off. And he would, yeah, you're right. He would tell you about the positives and the negatives about firearms. And it really does suck because he had a really good following on YouTube, and it's not like his channel's going to die. The videos are there. And I'm pretty sure he's over on Gunstreamer. Hopefully he's elsewhere.
Remember, Gunblast was a group of other individuals, his brother and so some of their friends. So I think Gunblast will still go on. It's just it may take another form. Because Jeff is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll carry on the tradition of just doing what they're doing because people love it.
Yeah. For the details, Jeff died on July 27th, 2020 at approximately noon Central Time. So
high noon, man.
High noon. For those that don't know, he had been fighting kidney failure for years. He was searching for a kidney donor. Unfortunately, Jeff didn't make it to get one. So, So I guess the kidney failure, caused heart failure, and we lost him. And I don't like losing someone in the gun community that has really made a difference and really, really been someone you'd want to watch and want to talk to. And we lost him.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, he was definitely an influence for me and somebody who sparked my interest in a lot of different firearms. And, his just kind of laid back, straightforward, no BS personality was something that I think a lot of people really enjoyed. And, the thing is, having a big channel like that, when somebody would look up a firearm, there's a good possibility that a Gunblast video would pop up, and that would be the information that person would receive. And I think that, that has a huge influence over somebody who's just maybe getting into firearms the first time. I know it did to me. And so that's, if I'm just one person, I'm sure other people are going to follow the same kind of path.
Yeah. Okay, fellow GunTuber, who are you?
Identify yourself.
This is Duke Liberty.
Hey, there you go.
Well, change your name. Set your things back up.
Well, doesn't it usually say that until they get loaded in, and then after that it?
No, you gotta set it. Sometimes they have to reset the profile.
Ah, okay.
So go change your profile. All right. Anyways, moving on, because I don't want to dwell too much on the bad, even though that's all we got tonight. So,
well,
there's always hope.
Can we talk about the GunTube lube, because it's there? It's in. That's something that's actually in stock in the gun community. Something that
Well, there's only six
bottles remaining.
Remaining in stock, but yeah, I won't get any more in until the second week of August.
Ooh.
So
if you're lacking gun cleaner, man, you better hurry up and pick some up.
Yeah. So go over to. I'll post not the link to the oil directly. I'll just post the link to the store. Go to store.guntube.org. Get some GunTube lube. It's under the category gun oil, so it's there. Shipping is included in the price, so have at it.
Remember what I told you this afternoon? I went to the Safariland website and grabbed a 4-ounce can and put it in my cart and went to check out just as an experiment. They wanted $10 for shipping and $9.89 for the 4-ounce can of CLP. Yeah. So if you don't have it, there's a lot of new gun owners out there buying this stuff up, and it is getting hard to find. You might want to take advantage of this, guys, because it's cheaper than actually ordering CLP from Safariland.
Duke, what are you moving an elephant over there?
My bad.
Say what?
Right.
Moving ahead? He's moving ahead, I think is what he said.
I'm sorry. My bad, man.
It's all good, brother.
Yeah. Travis T says, mine is ordered. Travi approved.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is Travi approved. Not only did Travis P11 do a video about it cleaning his EC9.
Yeah, EC9S is what I believe it's. Yeah, my compact.
EC9S.
Yep, EC9S. Yep.
EC9S today. Yeah. I sent a whole bunch out this afternoon. I sent like at least 4 bottles out this afternoon. So we're running out.
Better hurry up and pick some up, people. And economically speaking, it's those aerosol cans tend to go pretty quick, and you can't always control the flow of that stuff. So you tend to use a little bit more than you want to.
So if you want to support GunTube or help Night Strike out, go buy some GunTube oil, CLP. So
do it.
All right, moving on. What do we want to talk about? You know what? I want to mention. I want to go over the other article first, because I don't necessarily want to talk about Chicago just yet.
Oh, come on. It's always so exciting and happy news. Man.
Travis, I'm looking at you with the most blank stare right now.
I mean, come on. 75 people murdered in a weekend. What's, Yeah.
I know. All right. We'll talk about it. I don't want to, but okay. So everyone knows that there's strict gun control in Illinois and specifically Chicago. Everyone knows that, right?
Just a little bit strict control, right?
Yeah. So the mayor has gone out, the Mayor Lightfoot, which I don't even want to go into that. We are being inundated with guns from states that have virtually no gun control, no background checks, no ban on assault weapons. This is hurting cities like Chicago. So basically, the mayor of Chicago is blaming their gun control, their gun problem, which only the criminals or law enforcement have guns in Chicago. And law enforcement apparently isn't doing their job in Chicago either. And so, therefore, only the criminals have guns. And they're complaining that people are getting shot because of their gun control or because the state's neighbors don't have gun control.
So where is she actually finding this information? Do they have an overwhelming majority of firearms that are linked back to the original owners in Illinois and Wisconsin?
I mean, apparently, if you open up her desk,
not Illinois,
there's probably instructions engraved in the wood at the bottom that reads, "Blame violent crime involving guns on surrounding states."
I didn't mean Illinois. I meant Indiana? Is that the state that they always point the finger at?
They're always pointing the finger at Indiana, but now they're saying all the surrounding states of Illinois. They're blaming those states for not having gun control.
Yeah, this is a normal fallacy. They like to blame Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin, because our gun laws are a lot different from theirs, is what I'll just say.
But the thing is, dude, if it's an interstate gun transfer, it has to go through an FFL. I think that's federal law, isn't it? Where any firearm that goes from one state to the next, from one person to the next, has to go through a federal firearms background check on the recipient in the other state.
Yeah.
That's just that. I sold my firearm to a good friend of mine who was in Texas, and we actually did the transfer in Texas, and they had to fill out the correct paperwork for it, and I had to transfer it out, and it still had to pass DOJ or ATF approval or whatever to go through. So,
but the mayor of Chicago is saying we are being inundated with guns from states that have virtually no gun control, no background checks, no ban on assault weapons. That is hurting cities like Chicago. That's what
I want to see the data. I want to see the data. You know what? And maybe if that's happening, those guns have probably been reported stolen from those states in big cities. There's a some sort of gun cartel that takes it from surrounding cities to funnel guns into Chicago. And if that's the case, I want to see the data that says that the vast majority of the firearms are in fact stolen, previously reported as stolen. And if that's the case, you can't blame those owners or those states if they were reported as stolen.
Travis,
I know that would be logic. That would be logic, right?
Democrats don't rely on facts. They only rely on baseless statements that they drone on and on to brainwash the listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I want to see data because data is always used against us. I want to see the data that proves it. Then if it's clear cut and it says this is how it is and these statistics are coming from someplace valid, then maybe I'd maybe change my opinion.
Yeah.
But data can be manipulated to say whatever you want. So
it can. But again, I just find it, utterly ridiculous that the mayor would blame all their gun problems on their surrounding states not having gun control. Yeah, not every state is like yours. Get over it. And
here's the deal. That's how you can push the gun control in your state by saying, well, we've got to have harsher penalties because of the guns coming into our state. And then they're trying to spread their control to other states.
South Carolina may have had a few incidents here or there. I'll give you that. But the fact is that the gun restrictions on guns in South Carolina, is a reflection that, some people may get shot from gang related stuff in some of the bigger cities. But at the same time, there are people in the state that can shoot back because they're able to get fire. Legal citizens are able to get firearms, and if they're attacked by someone, they're able to defend themselves because 1, castle doctrine, 2, stand your ground, 3, we have a concealed carry permit system here in South Carolina. So, and that pretty much covers, South Carolinians that if they don't have CCW, they can, carry it in their glove box under castle doctrine. They don't have a duty to retreat in South Carolina. So, and guess what? In South Carolina, we have less gun violence than in Illinois, specifically Chicago.
The issue is they don't want to look at the real issue. They don't want to look at what's really going on. It's much less a gun problem and much more a societal problem that they have to deal with, and why this violence is occurring. We had 2 shootings in the Flint area on Sunday, more early Sunday morning. It has very little to do with guns. It has more to do with people's understanding of right and wrong and how they deal and interact with other people. They shot up a diner, shot one guy and killed him, shot 3 other people in a 24-hour diner that was right across the street from the state police station in Flint Township. Literally right across the street. So these people don't even care about anything, much less getting caught. And the other one was over 100 rounds fired at a party in a parking lot. They were literally sweeping up the casings. So I think it has very little to do with the guns and more to do with people and what they do in society.
I have to comment on Flint just a little bit. If you're ever in Flint, don't drink the water. Just don't do it.
A lot of lead.
It's got a lot of lead, and unfortunately, you can't reload that lead. Unfortunately. All right, so moving on. What do we want to talk about next? Travis, you got a topic?
Yeah, I got one here. I'm looking over at guns.com news. The New York Senate votes to ban ghost gun possession, gun assembly. Yeah, and let's see what this actually entails. You want me to run through it real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So here's what it says, guys. Those of you that might be, have your 80% builds going on and things like that. Says the Democrat-controlled New York Senate on July 23rd approved blah, blah, blah in a 43-17 vote. The measure aims to create tough new statewide laws on firearms without serial numbers, such as those commonly built by hobbyists in the comfort of their homes. Further, it would make the simple act of fitting together the component parts of a firearm a crime for anyone who's not a licensed gunsmith. The bill's been floating around Albany for almost a decade in one form or another, but was consistently foiled while Republicans held narrow control of the Senate. Today, New York state government has one-party rule of Dems in the driver's seat. Ghost guns have been a scourge for years, and that's why I first introduced legislation to regulate them back in 2013, says Assembly member blah, 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 Manhattan Democrat. Measure would define a ghost gun under state law as any firearm that isn't serialized and registered with no provision for grandfathering of guns already in circulation. Currently, federal law allows anyone legally able to possess a firearm to build one for their personal use. That right there says it's going to be a waste of time and money because federal law already allows it. That's it. I mean, there's no, yeah. So how they expect to circumvent federal law is above me because all it's going to do, maybe it's just to raise awareness about the ghost guns to support their cause. Because if it's a federal law, you're just wasting your time and money because you're going to lose in Supreme Court. That's my take on it. What do you guys think?
Well, it's the state of New Yorkistan. So obviously they don't want you to have guns.
My concern overall is that I don't think that we may not win in the courts. I'm not so sure anymore. This was supposed to be our 4 years. This was supposed to be, I thought that this was going to be the 4 years where we got rid of a lot of gun control and we made a lot of headway. And it's been the total opposite. And that's one of my biggest gripes with all of these super pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment people being so blindly solid behind Trump and the Republican Party. When what do we have to show for our unfailing support? No bump stocks, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like silencers or suppressors, things like that. We've made no ground. We've lost ground.
And we were hopefully gonna get the Hearing Protection Act passed, and we had a chance for that to happen, and it just basically didn't.
Yeah, I mean, look at the
Supreme Court still won't hear a gun case.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. And look at back to Travis, what you were saying. Look at the data. How many people were killed by suppressors?
I think we've had maybe one crime committed in the last so many years. I think I've only heard about one.
Last 30 years.
Yeah.
And even then that gun might not have even been fired in the crime itself. I think there was one, there might have been a worker that killed employees at one of their job sites, and they had a suppressor on their firearm.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it's hot. We have Hollywood to thank for making it scary. To be honest, I think as much as I don't want to hate on that, but it's the reality. And it's like one of those. It's it's the thought police. The silencers are going to make it more deadly. A stock of stock, that a movable stock will make it more deadly, right? Things like that. It's just a fallacy. But I'm just disappointed overall, and so I don't think we could put a lot of faith in the courts at all.
It's what's sad about suppressors is you look at other countries, and we've read that you can go buy one. You can just pick one up in a gun store in foreign countries. In some foreign countries, you're required to actually use a suppressor while hunting. Yeah, it was Germany. Austria, Switzerland. Yeah. For big game hunting, you have to have a suppressor on your firearm in order to protect everybody's hearing. And those are countries with stricter gun control laws than the USA. I don't know.
Who'd ever thought that we want to model something after Germany, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. And I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that and maybe they're doing this for a reason. Is there the suppressor lobby, if there is such a thing, the manufacturers, the Society of Manufacturers of Suppressors doesn't press more for ease of restrictions just because of that market that's out there? And you're going to say, well, that's going to open up competition and that's going to drive down prices. But you'd make up for it with volume. I mean, that's just the thing, If anybody could just go buy a suppressor anywhere, I would buy one for every weapon that I have, that has a threaded barrel that could accept one if I didn't have to pay the stamp on it and the fees or whatever.
Well, you would want to save your ears.
Yeah, exactly.
That alone,
buy them.
And I think it just looks cool. I do it for the cool factor.
Yeah, here's the thing too. You've already got companies that have names that have been established out there. Dead Air and Osprey and those other companies. They would be like the big three of this. Some of those companies are huge. People would go to them first. You can say, well, it's going to drive down prices. Well, it's going to take competition a while to catch up and get into manufacturing to compete with the big boys. So I don't know. I just think that
competition is always good for the consumer.
Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't more of a press of lobbying from the silencer industry to the suppressor industry to make it happen.
Yeah.
But what do we know? But yeah, as for the ban on ghost guns, it says that if you have these, if this bill passes or whatever, it'd be a Class D felony. And it says it's a class of crime in New York that includes robbery and some types of manslaughter that carries a penalty of much as 5 years in prison. Unlawful production of a ghost gun would be a Class C felony, the same as assault and drug distribution, which carries up to 10 years in prison. And again, I want to see the numbers on murders committed by ghost guns that have been confiscated. In what percentage of all the firearms that are being used are people actually taking the time to mill out at 80% lower to go knock off a 7-Eleven? I just find that really hard to believe.
I do too. And it's just one more way for them to control the populace. So
yeah, now you can say, well, we're trying to prevent it from being a problem and before it becomes one. It's like, well, but they're already out there in circulation now, and you don't have massive numbers of people being killed by home created firearms. It's not happening because it's a lot more work and money to somebody who's irrational than simply buying a gun hot off somebody on the street, or just simply buying one the legal route and then using it for illegal purposes.
Yeah.
And again, I want to see the data. You want to push for this, and you show me that it's a problem.
Well, on the upside, Travis, nor I live in New York, so.
The problem is we can't say that though, because it's gonna be a thing where it moves. We can only say, yeah, I'm glad I don't live in California. I'm glad I don't live in New York. But someday it'll come to your state, and there'll be pressure because there'll be other states that have taken and follow suit. And I guess my issue is that we've got to pick a hill and fight on it. And if it means supporting another state and fighting for their rights, because it will come to us. And one day or the next.
The problem is we can fight all we want, but again, if the Supreme Court doesn't get off its ass and actually, hear the case, the fighting is worthless.
Now, here's the thing, okay, I'm seeing some statistics here that's saying that, I don't know, these are ATF stats or whatever. Oh, it's everytownresearch.org saying that 30% of firearms crimes committed in California in 2020 so far have been with unserialized firearms. Okay, so you come down hard on those, well, then people are just going to find other routes to get their firearms. And in the meantime, you're suppressing everybody else's ability to buy something that's otherwise completely legal, So, I don't know. I find it very disheartening to think that a piece of steel, could get you prison time.
Yeah.
Or when it's not actually considered a firearm at the time of purchase.
Or even a piece of plastic.
Furthermore, if you're not going to have compensation for your property when it's deemed illegal, i.e. bump stocks, then technically it's a violation of constitutional rights.
It is, because it's, they're taking away property without just compensation. And that's, what was that, the Fourth or the Fifth Amendment? I think it's the
Fourth Amendment. Property cannot be confiscated without due process.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm unhappy with the way things are going. Very unhappy. Well, let's see what else.
So now here's the big question. If we do actually see a Trump victory, what do you think is going to happen with gun sales? Do you think they're going to continue to go up because people are going to just? Do you think we're going to see the opposite of the Trump gun slump that we saw back in 2016, or not?
We may. We might see it again.
I think with pandemic buying, I think that's going to keep the numbers and percentages up there too. Still.
Yeah, I think there's no way that it stops. I think we are on a. That's why I believe that you should buy what you can right now, and continue to buy what you can right now, no matter what price it's at. You buy what you can. It's not going away, no matter what happens. Whether we have a Trump victory or we have a Trump defeat, however you want to look at it, I don't care. This is going to continue, all the way.
Yeah, and you see the riots that are going on right now in some parts of the country, and that they're now using firearms and explosives and Molotov cocktails on the federal buildings and federal employees and whatnot, and it's just with and the left is completely ignoring what is going on and saying that the groups are a myth, saying that the violent protesters are only just these violent rioters are just peaceful protesters. And I'm sorry, but when some dude all dressed in black with a mask, brings a rifle, he brings an AK or an AR and starts shooting a federal building, I'm sorry, but that ain't peaceful. On which goddamn earth is that peaceful? It's not. Anyone throwing anything that lights on fire, that's not peaceful. But apparently they want to ignore what's going on, and they're just trying to incite. I don't know. Budget Guns and Gear says that they're trying to incite a civil war, but at the same time, I don't believe that. I think they're just rioting to riot because they don't have anything better to do because everything is shut down.
I think it's just going to be like a snowball for the rest of the year. We're only going to see this ramp up towards the election. And then you've got to consider Corona 2.0 in the flu and cold season, October to March, April. However that plays out, however you want to look at that, either side of the coin, whether you're on this is just pushed too hard, by the government, or you think that this is a totally real thing. I don't care however you look at it. Either way, there's going to be a reality of things being a whole lot different this cold and flu season. And that will have a drastic effect on the country, on people, and on gun ownership, buying guns, ammunition, everything like that. And then as we hit this economic downturn, because that's coming as well, the effects of this coronavirus and everything being shut down and people being out of work, no one has felt the full effects of that yet. But that is coming. There's been a whole lot of protection for people with rent and with homes and with credit right now. Those protections will go away. The debts will be called in, and that will have a great effect on people.
Yeah. Well, we have other news, and I'm moving on from that topic because it's depressing as all hell, and I agree with you. But again, I want to shift gears. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Remington filed for bankruptcy.
Was this that they were going to if the Navajo Nation purchase didn't go through? Or that, because I mean, I've known that something was going to happen to them, but was that they were not going to have to file for bankruptcy if they got bought out by the Navajo Nation?
Firearms maker Remington Arms Co. filed for bankruptcy protection for the second time since 2018. Okay. Bankruptcy protection, that's Chapter 7, I think.
Yeah, you're going to have to look that up. That I'm not sure about. Which, here's the funny thing about this, man. I just want to say something right now. For one, they've had a series of misses in terms of firearms. Okay, I mean, they've had they've had weapons that have come out that have really had some shoddy quality control going on. Some of the shotguns, some of the rifles, the RP series of pistols had some issues. The R, whatever, 51 or whatever it was called, that's got some problems. Two, when they were bought out and they purchased the other companies and made it all Remington Outdoors or whatever they renamed themselves, they acquired companies that had a substantial amount of debt. And the company that bought Remington in the first place, they're known for buying out companies and then liquidating their assets and making their profit off that. So to me, this is no surprise that this is happening. And this has happened before to other companies too. I think originally it was like the Cerberus group that bought it or was part of.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah. I'm correcting myself. Apparently Remington filed for Chapter 11. Okay. It's Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Chapter, let me look up Chapter 11 because I'm not big on. I don't know all of the bankruptcy. I know Chapter 7. Chapter 11 is a form of bankruptcy that involves reorganization of a debtor's business affairs, debts, and assets, and for that reason is known as reorganization bankruptcy. Named after the U.S. Bankruptcy Code 11, corporations generally file Chapter 11 if they require time to restructure their debts.
Okay.
It means they'll be out of business in 2 years instead of today. They'll reorganize and spend a whole bunch more money and borrow a bunch and just be used for their name, and then they'll go out of business in 2 years, like Gander Mountain.
Well,
I'm not necessarily. I mean, if you look at the automotive companies, I mean that happened. That's happened before too, and they've pulled through. They've just been bought out by somebody else. But you're right. I mean, there's a history of companies that follow that route. That's what happens to them.
Right. I mean, those are companies with good names. Mm-hmm. Remington does not have a good name right now. It had a good name, and it's been using that and running off that good name.
Remington had a good name, and then they closed up DPMS and Bushmaster, two brands that people liked.
Yep, and they've been writing off their name for years. But again, by closing up DPMS and Bushmaster, two of the major AR manufacturers in the country, I can see why they're going bankrupt. Yeah, I don't know why. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I have no idea why you would stop selling ARs. Even in the Trump slump, you have to understand that's going to end. You had to see that at least someday the Trump slump was going to end. And the day of, $500, $400 ARs that people bought, and those are going right now for $800, $900 all day long. I don't know how you didn't see that coming, and then just decided to just stop producing ARs. It blows my mind.
But they need capital to maintain. You can only throw the buckets of water out of a sinking ship for so long, because literally for 3 years, the $650 DPMS Oracle or $550 DPMS Oracle couldn't compete against the $400 PSA or the $350 Bear Creek Arsenal. People go where the lowest price point is. I'm sorry. That's just, a lot of people are going to look up the cheapest one they can get, and then that's what they buy. And if you're one of these competing companies, you have to adjust your pricing structure, or you got to prove why you're a premium brand. Yeah. I mean, look at H&K. H&K got bought out. They were having issues. And do they offer, like a sub $400, sub $500 pistol? Okay, they got the VP series and stuff, but do they have something uber cheap to bring people into the brand? No.
Yeah.
Instead, they live off their military contracts, which only get them so far, and police contracts.
Well, yeah, look at the top selling pistols of 2019 and even into 2020. They're not $800, $600, $700, $800 guns. They're $300 and $400 guns all day long.
And here's the thing: do you see any guns that are under $500 for sale in your gun store, or under $400? Probably not right now, because that's just people that don't have that kind of money aren't buying those guns. I've seen that time and time again in the last couple months in all these gun stores I go into.
Okay, so I'm going to read the rest of this article. Okay,
do it.
Remington, which supplies weapons for hunting, shooting sports, law enforcement, and the military, sought Chapter 11 protection and will try to sell its business at a time when civil unrest and worries about personal safety have driven firearm sales to record highs. Which, right now, closing up their businesses, in doing this, it doesn't make any sense. Other than they probably have gone, well under. The Chapter 11 petition in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Decatur, Alabama, marks Remington's second restructuring since 2018, when it filed for Chapter 11 and transferred ownership to investors, including Franklin Resources, Inc. and J.P. Morgan Chase & Co. Well, there's your reason. There's your answer. Remington has been searching for potential buyers and was in talks to sell itself out of bankruptcy to the Navajo Nation before negotiation collapsed in recent weeks, leaving the company without a lead bidder or stalking horse in place. Despite shedding roughly $775 million in debt in 2018, the company has struggled with high interest costs, and it has faced litigation related to the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre, in which the killer used a Bushmaster rifle manufactured by Remington. Well, technically it's manufactured by Bushmaster, not Remington, but, whatever. Which shows us the true point of this kind of litigation. It's not about justice. It's about addressing a mistake or negligence by the company in question. It's about trying to make it too costly for these companies to remain in business. It's an attempt to create gun control without having to go through Congress or state legislators. After all, if there are no guns for sale, there's no reason to limit who can buy them, right?
Oh man, this is it's sad they couldn't keep the doors open, because right now people are buying anything they can get their hands on. I mean, really, if you think about it, they don't care if it's a Remington, they don't care if it's Mossberg, they don't care if Winchester, whatever. I mean, people are buying anything and everything. And I mean, right now, they'd be making a lot of sales if they kept everything in production. And then maybe they are right now. I don't know. Maybe they're still operational. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But it is sad that they couldn't keep themselves operational even now, where the last 2 or 3 months have been nothing but record demand.
Well, I hate to say it, but where are Remington's manufacturing facilities?
I think they're in New York.
Well, there's one reason.
Possibly. I could be wrong. I think that they're manufactured in New York, because they moved Marlin to New York when Freedom Group bought out Marlin. to the Remington facilities many years ago, back in the early 2000s or whatever.
Okay.
Let me check and see locations. Okay. Wait a minute. I take that back. Corporate headquarters is located in Madison, North Carolina. The larger plant's located in is it Lyon, New York? It's Llion.
Yeah.
Is that right? New York. Yeah, the larger plant.
They have a plant in Huntsville, Alabama. They had one. They had one in St. Cloud, Minnesota, that they're moving to Alabama. But I don't see. The thing is, with Remington, is if you have factories in the Northeast, it's probably a bad idea. Especially New York. New York is not a place to have a factory for guns, especially since half of your catalog you probably can't sell to New York in the first place.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of those. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a lot of local consumption, but a lot of your gun companies were New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. Originally that's where I remember seeing Beretta and Remington. Maybe
Beretta moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So which I don't blame them.
But, yeah,
they should be moving to gun-free states.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they should be doing. They should be taking their business elsewhere, and we should support them doing that. And then we should put a pinch on companies who decide to manufacture weapons in the states that cannot that can't even buy them themselves. That's a bigger.
Tony says manufacturers are not retailers. That's true, but if you're a manufacturer, why would you want to manufacture firearms that you cannot sell in state?
Because then you find yourself like Rock River Arms in Springfield having to negotiate on the dirty side with your local representatives so that you don't get put into restrictions on manufacturers.
Yeah, and I mean, if I was going to run a manufacturing, if I was going to do any sort of manufacturing for firearms, I would want to do it here in South Carolina or in one of the other free states in the South.
And just look at 6 Hour, man. They're getting out of Germany or whatever because there's just no love for them there. They've got a better market here in the U.S. They've got a higher demand here. There's a lot of regulations and lack of local contracts in Germany for 6 Hour to maintain themselves. They're coming to the U.S. Look at Magpul. They got out of Colorado because of the mag capacity restrictions and just all the regulations come down the pipe. They didn't want to be producing products in states where people can't consume them.
Exactly. So, but it's sad that this is happening to Remington. One of the very few old manufacturers here in the United States. I mean, we have Colt, we've got Colt, we've got Remington, and we've got Smith and Wesson. Is there another one? I think those are some of the oldest firearms manufacturers here in the United States. If there's another one, let me know. But I don't think there is. It's Colt.
I'm trying to think of original. Yeah.
Colt, Remington, and Smith and Wesson.
Mossberg. I don't know how far back they go. They go back to the 1800s, maybe.
I got to jump off. You guys take care.
Yeah. All right, take care, man.
Yep. I don't think Mossberg is that old. I could be wrong though. You might be right. I could be wrong. So Henry, yeah, Rolling Trip's right. There's Henry.
No, Henry was an early 2000s thing because they bought out the Henry design or the Henry name off of another family and then started producing the lever guns. They're using a Henry design. There's something about Henry. They're a fairly new company, but obviously the guns are an old design. But Henry themselves, I think, was something that goes back to like the early 2000s. So Mossberg goes back to March of 1919. So they've been around for 101 years. And they're still in New Haven, Connecticut.
No, Henry, the current Henry Firearms, Repeating Arms, was founded in 1996. So they're not the original Henry.
No. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But still, I mean, a lot of these companies have a tradition, and don't get me wrong, I've purchased a lot of Remington products in my time, and they were fine. I had a Remington 522 Viper back in the day, which is a little semi-automatic 22. I had, oh god, I remember what it was. If it was a 700 series 243, just an old one, just polymer metal bolt action that ran fine. Never had any problems with their firearms, but everything was also pre-Freedom Group time era. So I don't know, man.
It's bad.
Are we gonna get to that last topic? I think that's a pretty good one to leave some people with.
All right. Which one was the
CCR KBA publishes list of anti-gun businesses?
The Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has published a list of anti-gun businesses, so everyone knows whether they're supporting an anti-gun business or not. Now, granted, I don't know. So, some of these businesses I have to use because there's no alternative, unfortunately. Like, for instance, PayPal. I mean, Travis, you use Patreon, right?
Patreon or PayPal?
You use Patreon. You use both. Both.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with Patreon, the only form of payment, whether you're giving or receiving, is PayPal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of online stores, including store.guntube.org, uses PayPal. Why? Because there's no other payment processor I can use. So, but again, if you wanna go through this list and see the list of anti-gun businesses, who knows? Send them an angry email, send them an angry letter. Tell them you don't support what they're doing, and maybe do the same thing the left does to them, that does to us all the time. And as a collective group, we can shame them into taking a neutral stance. But either way, I'm gonna post the link out there on the YouTube side for everyone. So,
do we have just a straight up list or on that article that we're looking at? Because they mentioned companies, but I wanted to see the actual list itself. To see
I posted the actual list, Travis.
Okay. Well, I'm not watching the chat over on the YouTube side. I'm looking at the article, but
then here.
Okay. Make it easy on me. I just want to thank you, sir. Okay.
Okay, that's the actual.
So who's not going to get our money? Let's see. AMC Theaters, AOL Time Warner, Ariel Investments. Okay, that's sad because part of my 401k is through those guys, and they've got fantastic returns. This is not going to be good. AutoZone. Wow. Now, are these just places that don't allow concealed carry, or these are companies that have an anti-firearm stance
that have actively fought against firearms? Yeah.
Bank of America. The rough thing about this is these are corporations that bring in billions and billions of dollars every year, and they bring in more revenue with more influence.
Though they say Bloomberg LP, but I hate to say this, but this is true. Anything with the name Bloomberg in it is probably already anti-gun because of his stance.
Burger King, really, man.
Yeah.
Oof. What else we got on here? CNN. Yeah. Okay. Go figure. Comcast, Condé Nast, which is a publisher. Costco. Oh, dude, really?
Delta Airlines, Dick's Sporting Goods.
I better quit bragging about buying stuff at Costco now.
Ooh, Travis.
What's that?
DoorDash.
Man.
Yeah.
And sad part is PayPal. They've got a huge operation center in Nebraska too.
Yeah. So just take a look at that list.
Okay, Gateway Computers, are they even around anymore?
They are still around. They're a subsidiary of Acer now.
Gotcha.
Who else? Well, MTV doesn't surprise me. They haven't been, music television in a hell of a long time, like 30 years.
It's not good. I guess the least thing we can do is seek out other companies. But man, Geico, I mean, some of these you don't even have a choice, just because there's just so many. These are these are primary companies that dominate so many different industries.
But again, I just wanted everyone to see the list so they know what to expect. So, all right, I'm done with the list. Anyways, let's wrap this up. We're
cool.
Coming up on the hour.
A lot of companies on that list, man. Everybody check. Your homework is to look that over and think long and hard about supporting those companies.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool beans, man.
All right. I'm going to make a final plug. Again, I'm doing a mini fundraiser with GunTube. So if you go over to store.guntube.org, I'll post it out there. I'm selling, GunTube is selling, gun oil, GunTube Lube CLP.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
It's gun oil. Travis did a video with his EC9S this morning.
Hey, cleaned it. It still looks good. It's like I said, they have it in stock where a lot of places don't, and that's the biggie for me. Plus, I like the liquid bottle form. It's less messy overall, and I think I'm going to probably use less of it in general, just because one drop does so much for you.
So, again, we've only got, I guess, 6 bottles left on the GunTube store. So if you want some, get some. I won't have any more until the 2nd or 3rd week in August. So
snatch it up, people.
If you need some gun oil, get it. The price of shipping is included in that price, so don't worry about it. Get some GunTube Lube CLP if you need it.
There you go. Also, firearms, man. If there's something in there that you want in your local gun store, you best to buy it. Because you know that the media will spin the election that Trump's going to lose, and that's going to cause more people to buy more guns, and things are going to go up. Right now, I'm seeing, this is crazy. I was looking at the Bear Creek Arsenal website this evening. Their ARs are now topping $900. They're going for $923 for a 5.56 AR. Guys, don't pay those prices for starters. Second, you should have been listening to us. You should have an AR by now. And third, if there's a gun you really want, try not to pay more than the MSRP that you remember seeing on the gun, right? Not the sale price, but the MSRP, so you don't get jacked on the prices.
Hold it. Budget Guns and Gear says better a gun oil salesman than a steak oil salesman. Well, let's put it this way. This gun oil that GunTube is selling is tested and true. Just watch Travis P11's
Dude, it's CLP. It's just CLP oil that Night Strike is making available to us. So I know we're kind of pitching it, but it's kind of fun for me because I've never done a gun oil test before. It's my first time. And then also, it's a fair price. It's for a good cause. It works. I guess I don't know how else to be more convincing.
It's not snake oil because it's actually useful and can be used on something.
No, it's actual military grade CLP. I'll be happy to send him my bottle if he wants to try it. Give me your address, bro. I'll send it to you. Be happy to.
So there's the link for that. So go check that out. Travis, give us your outro.
Let's see. Well, I mean, I'm a Pisces. I enjoy long walks on the beach, and actually, I got to get going. But anyway, guys, I appreciate the invite, Night Strike, guys. I wish we had better news for you, but keep your heads up and keep your guns clean, keep your PMags loaded, and in the words of James Yeager. And anyway, check out my channel, Travis P11, and Caliber Corner Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. We talk guns and ammo. This weekend, we're going to talk about traveling safe, things to keep in mind in the time of social chaos, right? There you go. So that's what we got coming on.
It's not fire clean. It's not vegetable oil. It is regular military surplus
CLP. And for the record, it is actually cheaper than buying it from Safariland Direct. So there you go.
So with that, well, we're gonna close up shop. So thank you all for listening. This was Hit or Miss.
Adios, Felicia. Afuera de mierda, Felicia. Te amo. Te amo, mi amor.
Te amo.
Despacito. Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. Wrong program. I got to save that for Get Off My Lawn.
Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed.
How do I turn this darn thing off?
I don't know, man. You designed it.
No, where's
the button? Where do I got to click? Where do I got to click?
What button do I hit?
I don't know.
Give them the bird.
Exactly. Exactly. Did you get it figured out? Have you ended live streaming?
That's a calf rope. I ain't got no tagline. And always keep one in the chamber.
Yes.
The GunTube chamber.